Here's to the builders, the ones who don't wait for permission, the ones who learn at midnight, pitch at sunrise, and fail forward. They're not born with success, they build it. With duct-taped day jobs and one good idea too stubborn to die. They aren't influencers, they influence by doing. The system wasn't made for them, but they make it work anyway. You can doubt them, mock them, ignore them, but you can't stop them. Because they know, real growth starts inside. This is for them. This is Dr. Wood Recommends, where business meets real life.
Storytime, I learned business from Rocky Fru. Here's how. My company was on the ropes. We were 3 years in, and our biggest competitor, a corporate giant with a 9-figure budget, had just launched a product that was a direct copy of ours, only cheaper, and with a massive marketing campaign behind it. We were hemorrhaging customers, our investors were spooked, and every single meeting felt like a round we were losing. I was pretty sure a knockout was just around the corner. One night, after another soul-crushing 16-hour day, I just slumped onto my couch, completely defeated. I mindlessly flipped through the channels and landed on a movie I hadn't seen since I was a kid, Rocky IV. And that's when everything changed. I went in expecting a cheesy 80s action flick. I came out with a blueprint for how to save my company. I know it sounds crazy, but that symbolic fight between an American underdog and a Soviet giant wasn't just a movie, it was a masterclass in business strategy. The film became my playbook on how to win when you are outmatched, out-resourced, and completely counted out. It gave me 3 lessons that I put into practice immediately, and they didn't just save us, they turned us into a real contender. This is that story. Section 1, the underdog's perseverance. The first lesson was about perseverance. In the movie, Rocky isn't just fighting Ivan Drago, he's fighting a force of nature. Drago is younger, bigger, and stronger. He's shown as the absolute peak of Soviet strength and technology, a cold, emotionless machine built for one thing, victory. He's not a man, he's an ideology on 2 feet. After Drago kills Apollo Creed in the ring, the odds for Rocky aren't just long, they're impossible. Everyone tells him not to do it, that it's suicide. This felt familiar. Our competitor was our Ivan Drago. They were this monolithic giant, a product of a corporate system that felt inhuman and unstoppable. They had the best of everything. The best engineers, the biggest marketing budget, the best distribution. We were a small team, fueled by passion and instant ramen. We were the scrappy individuals. They were the state-engineered machine. The market, our investors, our customers, even some of our own team, they saw our competitor as invincible. They saw us as the next Apollo Creed, headed for a quick and brutal end. Watching Rocky, I saw the power of pure will. He's driven by this deep sense of duty and just refuses to back down. He takes the fight. He agrees to go to the Soviet Union, right into the heart of enemy territory. And he does it not out of arrogance, but from an unbreakable spirit. Now, you know that famous Rocky quote, "It ain't about how hard you hit, it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward." That line is actually from the Rocky Balboa movie years later, but the spirit of it, the core idea, is the very essence of Rocky IV. That became our new company mantra. The next day, I called an all-hands meeting. I didn't show them a complex financial strategy. I told them the story of Rocky. I said, we are going to get hit. We are going to get knocked down, but we are not going to stay down. We started building a culture of resilience, not as a buzzword, but as something we actually practiced. We celebrated the small wins. We talked openly about how brutal things were, but we refused to let it defeat us. Every time we lost a client, we did a postmortem. Not on the loss, but on the lesson. We would just get back up. This shift in mindset, from being scared of the giant to embracing the fight, was step 1. It was pure perseverance, straight from the Italian stallion. Section 2, the Siberian strategy. The second lesson was about strategy, but not the kind they teach you in business school. It was about turning your weaknesses into your greatest strengths. This came from the film's iconic training montage. The movie shows this stark contrast between two ways of training. Ivan Drago is in a sterile, high-tech government facility. He's hooked up to computers, every punch is measured, his heart rate is monitored, and he's getting injected with who knows what. His training is all about data, optimization, and mechanized power. And then there's Rocky. He flies to a desolate corner of the Soviet Union into the unforgiving Siberian wilderness. No machines, no scientists in lab coats. He trains in a barn, he chops down trees, lifts rocks, pulls a sled through knee-deep snow, and sprints up a frozen mountain. Where Drago is given every advantage, Rocky has to find his advantage in the world around him. His strategy is raw, resourceful, and deeply human. He's not just fighting against nature, he's fighting against himself. Our Ivan Drago was doing the exact same thing. They were throwing millions at sophisticated marketing algorithms, A/B testing every pixel, and buying up every keyword. We couldn't compete there. We didn't have the cash or the people, so we adopted the Siberian strategy. Instead of trying to out their technology, we focused on what we did have, our authenticity and a real connection with our customers. We stopped trying to outspend them on Google Ads. Instead, I personally started calling our customers, both the ones we still had and the ones we'd lost. I didn't try to sell them anything. I just asked about their problems. I just listened. Like Rocky training in the wild, we got back to the fundamentals. Our marketing became less about metrics and more about stories. We featured our actual customers. We wrote long, detailed blog posts that were personal and genuinely helpful, the kind of thing their content farm could never replicate. We leaned into being small. Our support emails were answered by the founders, not a chatbot. We were the rugged, natural alternative to their sterile corporate machine. We turned our lack of resources into a story about being human-centric and dedicated. They had the data, but we had the heart. And just like in the movie, heart can be a powerful and totally unpredictable weapon. Section 3, winning the crowd. The third and final lesson was the most profound. It's not enough to beat your opponent. You have to win over the crowd. You have to change hearts and minds. When Rocky arrives in Moscow, he's the enemy. The crowd is hostile. They boo him. They jeer at him. They are there to see their national hero, their perfect machine, destroy the American outsider. The adversity is overwhelming. It's not just a physical fight against Drago. It's an emotional and psychological war against an entire nation's beliefs. For the first few rounds, Drago just crushes him. He pummels Rocky. But Rocky doesn't just take the punishment, he adapts. He shows that the machine can be hurt. He cuts Drago. And as he keeps fighting, as he perseveres against these impossible odds, something incredible starts to happen. The hostile crowd starts to change. A few scattered chants for Rocky begin to ripple through the arena. By the final round, the entire Soviet audience is screaming his name. He didn't just win the fight, he won their respect. He bridged this massive ideological gap with pure, undeniable heart. Our company had its own hostile crowd. The market story, pushed by our competitors' PR machine, was that we were a small, risky startup, while they were the safe, enterprise-ready solution. We were facing so much skepticism, even outright hostility from industry analysts who had bought their story, hook, line, and sinker. This is where Rocky's final speech comes in. After winning, he grabs the mic and says, "If I can change, and you can change, everybody can change." That became our strategy. We had to change the narrative. We couldn't do it with press releases or ads. We had to do it with action and by being transparent. We had a major server outage that threatened to be our final knockout blow. The hostile crowd of angry customers and gleeful critics came out in force. Instead of hiding behind corporate jargon, I went directly to them. I wrote a long, brutally honest blog post explaining exactly what went wrong, why it was our fault, and the concrete steps we were taking to fix it. I answered every single angry email and tweet myself. No excuses. I just took the hits, out in the open. Honestly, it was terrifying. But just like in the movie, showing that kind of vulnerability and accountability started to change people's minds. Our customers saw we weren't a faceless corporation, we were just people who cared deeply. Some of our biggest critics became our most vocal supporters. By embracing the disaster and leading with humanity, we didn't just fix a technical problem, we changed the entire perception of our company. We won over the crowd. Looking back, it's obvious that Rocky IV is way more than a boxing movie. It's a parable about how the scrappy, passionate underdog can actually win. It teaches you that perseverance can outlast power, that a resourceful strategy can beat unlimited resources, and that real humanity can win over even the most hostile crowd. We took those 3 lessons to heart. Persevere like you're in the 15th round. Strategize like you're alone in the wilderness. And face adversity not by fighting the crowd, but by winning it over. Our company didn't just survive, we thrived. We carved out our own space in the market, not by trying to become a bigger machine, but by becoming more human. The world is always going to have its Ivan Dragos, the giants that seem invincible. But the lesson of Rocky IV here is that winning isn't about having the most power or the best tech. Sometimes it's about having the most heart, the cleverest strategy, and the guts to get back up one more time than you get knocked down. That's how winning is done. These lessons are everywhere if you just know how to look for them. It's amazing what you can learn when you apply a different lens to the stories you love. So I'm curious, what's a movie that has taught you an unexpected lesson, in business or in life? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single one.